What is going on, family? This is Jake Taylor Jacobs with the Jake Taylor Jacobs Show, and today we're going to be talking about ownership versus godship. We're going to be talking about ownership versus godship. But before we get started, you know that we always got to start off with some type of jam, some type of jam. And so we're going to jam to Jamie Woods to jump off the show, and it's called Hello Morning by Jamie Woods.
Standing at the cusp of the rising sun, should I run to the horizon? Or should I flee while I still have a chance before the light exposes what I'm not ready to let go of? When I see yellow burgundies, I hear nature's melodies singing a new song. Yesterday has passed away, and as the clouds swallow the stars, wave goodbye to all the scars from yesterday's rain. And now I say hello. Different when the sun is gone, fighting monsters in the darkness, to find that they're just shadows all alone. Nothing's the same when the light's gone, and as I wait for the sunrise, open my eyes and say goodbye. When I see yellow burgundies, I hear nature's melodies greeting a new dawn. Morning wash the black away. As the clouds swallow the stars, wave.
Can somebody tell Brother Bennett stop calling into the show? He messing up my flow, man.
And now I say hello morning. Hello morning, yeah. Hello morning. Hello, good morning. The morning comes every day.
She say the morning comes every day. Can y'all get Brother Ben to stop? Just stop. Brother Ben, stop. Stop calling the show. You don't want to come to the studio today. You wanted to be at the house, okay? You didn't want to come to the office, all right? So I need you to stop calling the show, messing up our flow. He said, it now look crooked, Amir. It look slant. I'm talking about the stands down there. I don't know what you did, but it don't look straight. Brother Ben giving his critiques. He not at the show. He not at the show. Why he doing that to me? Brother Ben said we need to have this good footage in the right frame. Is it in the right frame, Brother Ben? Huh? You giving producer notes? Is that good, Brother Ben? Huh? Is that good, Brother Ben? Huh? I want to put in the comments now, huh? I want to put in the comments. Maxine, you're absolutely right. Brother Ben is proud of his new studio. He misses it. His butt needs to be here at the studio. You got me managing and doing stuff that's out of my, what I say, department. This ain't in my department, Brother Ben. This ain't in my department. You got me running the department. That ain't in my department. Today, y'all, we got some good information to share with you. Today, we got a special guest that's going to call in and that's going to challenge some of the information that I've been giving y'all. And just know I stay ready, so I ain't got to get ready. Okay, I stay ready, so I ain't. See, they say that you don't have a belief until you can defend your belief. There will be people that challenge all the time. Y'all look at this. Look at that. Y'all see that? Brother Ben wants y'all to know he here, so I'm gonna put him up live on the channel so you guys can see that Brother Ben may not be here. May not be here physically, but his Twitter thumbs are. Okay, he may not be here physically, but his Twitter thumbs are. Hey, guys, welcome to the Jake Taylor Jacob Show, where we teach you biblical principles to your financial problems and solutions. We give you all types of information to help you be able to get yourself together, because you got to get yourself together, because I got somewhere to go. And when I get there, everyone, you know, I gotta go. Oh, okay, here we go. Y'all see this? Let me let the people know what you're hounding me about. Y'all see what he hounded me about? He hounded me. Y'all see him hounding me? He hounded me. So, guys, like I said, this is Jake Taylor Jacob Show. I'm super duper excited to bring some information to you. We're gonna have a guest come in who wants to challenge some of the stuff that I'm talking about, and he's saying some really mean stuff about me. And like I tell anybody, you know, if you whatever belief that you have in regards to finances and money, all beliefs are different. All beliefs are different, and you know, just show me the numbers. You know, a lot of people come to me, they come on the show, or they post comments on the show, or any of my videos that have went viral, and they give me their emotions or their opinions, but they're not bringing me facts. See, when I show people, especially when I talk about becoming your own bank, especially when I talk about becoming your own your own private banking system, especially when I talk about stop borrowing from the bank as your primary lender, especially when I talk about don't look towards the stock as your first place that you store your cash. And, you know, they come with me with opinion, with what people said, and they have no research or no information on what they've actually researched for themselves. Because like I tell families, if you want to become the banking institution, you have to mimic the banking practices. And so it's easy to mimic the banking practices when you can go to their assets and liabilities ledger and see what they do with their money, where are they putting their reserves, where are they putting their cash, and how they are growing their cash equivalents, and moving from there. So I'm super duper excited to be talking to y'all today. I'm super duper excited to be sharing with you. The Jake Taylor Jacob Show is sponsored by ABS Brokers and the ABS Institute, and we're also sponsored by the Lord Almighty God. The Bible says that Jesus said that he can't. He's not trying to be a public figure, because why? He was talking to his brothers. He said, because I come to bring a condemning word. I come to put fathers against mothers, mothers against fathers, sisters against brothers, and it's against the norm. That's what he said. That's what he had said. So if you do not have a belief where people are finding it to be a contradiction to their natural belief, and you have backing and facts and proof of research, don't cower away. You stand up straight, 10 toes down, and you defend your belief, because there's no such thing as a belief if you cannot defend it. No such thing. So there's a couple of books I want you guys to get. I want you to go get We Are Sick, Surviving Financial Cancer, where I statistically and scientifically prove how consumer debt is the #1 cause of death in Black America. In this book, I prove how consumer debt is the #1 cause of death in Black America. You can go to survivingfinancialcancer.com and get this book. I got another book coming out called I Am the Lender, where I'm showing you how to go from consumer to the lender in mind. And that book is going to be pretty good. There's another book I think that you should get. I'm not getting paid on it, but I'm going to let you know anyway. This is called Hey Amir, can you get the Nelson Nash book from Chandler. There's another book I want you to get. Oh, that's a great question, Sean. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, Sean, that's an amazing question, and I'm gonna address that. Okay, I'm gonna address that. Okay. As a matter of fact, if you can, I want you to call into the show and ask that question live. Okay, so this book right here is called Becoming Your Own Banker, 5th edition by Nelson Nash. I want you to go get a copy of this book. That's the first book I want you to read after my book. Then I want you to read Building Your Warehouse of Wealth by Nelson Nash. I want you to read that book. And I want you to read The Case for IBC by Nelson Nash and some like academia people. The Case for IBC. These are good books for you to actually study. If you study those books, you'll be just fine. There's a lot of people, you know, Maxine, did you get the book? And here's another book that you should purchase. It's called How Money Works. It has like beautiful pictures and stuff. It got beautiful pictures. Y'all see that? How Money Works. This book right here will give you basic understanding of how money works in its fullness. So we have a question here that Brother Sean Safford, you guys can always call into the show, that Brother Sean Safford asked. He asked, Maxine said, you have to take the master class. It's a jewel. You know, that's what I'm telling him. I'm telling Maxine, I provide facts, research, and logic. So, Sean, let me answer your question directly. Sean said, you want us to put our money in the whole life insurance, but we would have to pay monthly. Are we really growing our money by spending money? That is a great question. And it's funny that you have that kind of concept when it comes to placing money, because when you're investing your money in real estate or businesses, you don't think of it as spending money. But what most people fail to realize, matter of fact, what I'm going to try to do, I'm going to try to, let me see if I know how to share my screen. Let me see if I can share my screen. My entire screen. Hold on one second. Okay, let's see if I can share my screen. Share my screen, and let's see if you guys can hear my voice. Can you guys hear me still? Can you hear me and see my screen? Can you guys hear me and see my screen? Just want to make sure that you guys can hear me and see my screen. Because when people ask, they said, I'm answering Sean's question. He said, you want us to put our money in whole life insurance, but we have to pay monthly. Are you really growing? Are we really growing our money by spending money? Let me know if you can see my screen, because I want to show you something. I want to show you on the FDIC. On the FDIC, we're going to look up a bank. We're going to look up a bank. On the FDIC, we're going to look up a bank, and we're going to do a detailed and financial report, find a financial report, and we're going to see where the banks put their money. Somebody give me a name of a bank. We're doing this live. Somebody give me a name of a bank. Because when I tell people that we supposed to mimic the banking system that everyone likes to defend. What's going on, Daryl Johnson? Peace, brother. Peace. Somebody give me a name of a bank. What bank name can we use? Maxine said we pay the bank monthly right now and they rob us. You absolutely do, Maxine. Because why? Because, Maxine, we don't know no different. Direct deposit goes straight to the bank. So Wells Fargo. Let's search Wells Fargo. Oh, I may be able to bring my teaching board in here. I'm going to yell at Amir. We're going to go to Wells Fargo Bank National Association. Amir, do you think we can put our teaching board right here? Yeah. It's not going to fit? Dang, you know what I should have did? I should have I should have cut out in this wall space for the board. No. It's not gonna stick on here. Okay. So we're going to look what this say. This says demographic information as of March 20th, 5th, 2020. As of March 5th, 2020. This is as close to updated information as you're going to be able to find. And we got the latest report, December 31st. We got the latest report. I forgot I had an Apple mouse. We got the latest report right here. December 31st. And let's see if the banks are doing what Jake is telling us to do. Let's see. Is Jake pulling this out his hat? Is Jake pulling this out his hat? Let's look at the. Okay, let me see. Can you guys see my screen? Can y'all hear me clear? Okay, here we go. Y'all can see my screen, right? So notice that this says dollar figures in thousands. So any number that we see, we have to add 3 zeros to it. So let's go to line 41. Let's go to line 41. And this says that the banking institution Wells to the Fargo. You remember it says add three zeros. Remember it say that up here. We got to follow instructions now. It says dollar figures in thousands. Wells to the Fargo puts $18 billion inside of life insurance cash reserves. It says asset. Y'all see that? Do y'all see where it says Wells Fargo? Hey, Sean, I'm going to answer that question. I just want to make sure everybody sees what I just said. Y'all see that 18, add 3 zeros, $18 billion that they put in life insurance reserves. Do y'all see that? Do y'all see that? Okay. Now let's go to why do they do it? What is bank owned life insurance? What is bank owned life insurance? It says right here. Let's go to Investopedia. Bank-owned life insurance, BOLI, is a form of life insurance purchased by banks where the bank is the beneficiary and also usually the owner of the policy. Such an insurance is used as a tax shelter. In order for something to be a shelter, the financial institutions which leverages its tax-free savings provisions as a funding mechanism for employee benefits. Jake, what does that mean? Oh, that means everything. It simply means that the banks are storing their some of their cash reserves, not all of it, but $18 billion worth inside of insurance policies, inside the reserves. Why? Because the insurance companies have to put the money to work. So the money's just not sitting in an insurance account. The money is getting put to work. Notice that you can't do that with term insurance. So what does the insurance companies do? The insurance company now takes that money in the reserve and they go purchase bonds. They go buy bonds, corporate government bonds. They do all this stuff that are safe places to put your money. Short-term joint ventures, mortgage. When you have those financing companies that are not real banks, but they're financing companies, they borrow money from insurance companies, blocks of money so that they can lend to you, and they pay the insurance companies back in interest. All these things are well-known facts, okay? And so what I'm saying is the reason why I'm telling people to do what the banks are doing is because I'm not bringing my emotions to the table. A lot of people are bringing their emotions and their beliefs, but I'm looking at the assets and liabilities ledger of the banks. That's it. That's it. Everybody brings your emotion. I'm looking at the assets and liability charts of the bank, and I'm seeing where they're putting their money. So Sean said, okay, I know what you are about to show us because I've shown this 1,000 times. Let me rephrase my thought process. Right now, I don't pay the bank anything but interest on my mortgage. If I take all of my funds and place them into insurance, how do I offset the monthly cost of insurance? Good question. So would y'all like me to show you an example of how it would work? Would y'all like me to show an example of how it would work? Because what people don't know about insurance reserves, I'm not talking about IULs for those of you guys that are like, oh, IUL. I'm talking about dividend paying whole life insurance that gives you a guaranteed. We're talking about dividend paying whole life insurance that gives you a guaranteed 4% plus 2 to 4% dividend. And the dividend is you're sharing profits with the company. The better that the mutual, we're talking about a mutual company, not a stock company. We're talking about a mutual life insurance company that is owned by the policyholders. In order for the insurance company to keep its status, they have to indeed share profits back with the policyholders. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. So I'm going to pull you guys up an example, because what better way to show you than with an example? What better way to show you than with an example, right? Because when people ask me, Jake, what am I getting in the policy? Well, some people think that you don't get access to the money for 3 years. That's inaccurate. That's inaccurate. With a properly structured dividend-paying whole life insurance policy, you can get access to 60% of your premium within 31 days. 31 days. 31 days. So what I'm doing right now, I'm pulling up a client. I'm going to say client test, because I don't need y'all looking up nobody information. I got to keep my job, though. I got to keep my job, y'all. But I'm pulling up illustrations right now so that I'm able to show you guys. Okay? I'm about to show y'all. I'm about to show you live at 5. Let's say somebody is putting, let's say, $10,000 a year into their policy. $10,000 a year. And one of the things that we have to understand, if you go to my masterclass, you're going to be able to see me explain this in full. We're talking about bank to bank. Now, let me ask you guys a question. If you put $10,000 in your savings account every year, if you put $10,000 in your savings account every year at the bank, if you put $10,000 in your savings account every year at the bank, how much would you have in 10 years? If you were to put $10,000 in your savings account with the bank, how much would you have in 10 years? Sean, you put $10,000 in your savings account with the bank, how much would you have in 10 years? $10,000 a year for 10 years, how much would you have in your savings account? Somebody do the math in the chat. Yeah, $10,000. You save it in the savings account for 10 years in a bank, you would have $100,000, right? So 10,000 times 10 years is $100,000. If you were to die, or let's say you live, at the end of 10 years, you have $100,000 and that's it, correct? At the end of 10 years, you have $100,000 and that's it, correct? Plus baby interest, okay. Plus baby interest, okay. So what we're going to do, I'm going to show you in 10 years what you would have if you place your money inside of a cash reserve, inside of a policy, because we're talking about bank to bank. We're talking about bank to bank. I'm not talking about stock market to dividend paying whole life. I'm not talking about real estate in comparison. We can go toe to toe, but that's not apples to apples. We're talking about where you store your cash, bank to bank. We're about to see what's about to happen. So the first 10 years, you have that money inside a properly structured plan. You would have 10 years. You would have put $100,000 in. At a bank, you would only have $100,000. and your insurance cash reserve, you will have $97,000 plus an $816,000 death benefit. Now, what bank is going to also give you an $816,000 death benefit attached to your cash reserve? What bank? What bank is going to give you that attached to it? We're talking about apples to apples. We're talking about saving your money in a bank versus saving your money in a insurance cash reserve. What bank will do that? Not one. Not one is going to give you, thanks, Maxine. No one's going to give you access to $97,000, which is like $2,000 less than what you put in, plus $816,000 in death benefit. Some of you guys are gonna be like, "Well, Jake, where's the $2,000? I put in $100,000. Let's go 10 more years down the line. Hold on, hold your horses. Let's go 10 more years down the line. Let's go to this side. This side over here is what we call the guaranteed. Guaranteed. You know what guaranteed means? That means it's guaranteed to be there. So what bank? You do $10,000 a year for the first 10 years. Then you save $3,000 a year for the next 10 years. What bank will guarantee that you will have $26,000 more dollars in there plus an $810,000 death benefit? What bank, what savings account are you going to put $133,000 in and get a guaranteed $159,000 plus $810,000 death benefit? Now, remember I talked to you guys about dividends. This $33,000 that you see is the amount of dividends that you just got paid over these from year 11 to 20. So you put $133,000 inside this policy. You have $198,000 of available cash in your reserve, plus a $941,000 death benefit. Now we're talking about bank to bank. What bank? What bank is going to give you that? Sean said, what is the average cost per year of the death benefit? About 40% of the premium that you pay takes care of the death benefit, the cost of the policy. With only using 60% of your money going in a cash reserve, let's go back. With only using 60% of your money going in a cash reserve, I'll let you do the math yourself. With only using 60% of the money of the cash reserve, you have more money in your cash reserve than you do in the entire thing that you put in, only using 60%. Hold on one second. I think this is our caller calling in. I told y'all that we had a special guest coming in, and then we'll go back to what I was sharing with you all. But this brother right here, he called me out on social media, and anybody that calls me out, I give them the respect to defend what they believe. Why? Because I said if you don't have a belief, if you can't defend it, right? And so he called me a fraud, and he said that because one, he doesn't know me, and so I don't take it to heart. And so what I've done, I have I'm bringing him on to the show so we can hear his disposition, so that everyone can hear his disposition. He'll state his claim, I'll state my claim, and I just pray that we stay clean. Okay, so I'm gonna bring him on the show. Brother Jermaine, can you hear me? Oh, sorry, Brother Jermaine, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. So the only thing that I say, Brother Jermaine, is let's just keep it clean. And let's just be respectful, okay?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I have to apologize that I had to make a scene to kind of get you guys' attention, brother. But that I operate like that sometimes.
Well, no, that's okay. That's okay. My daddy taught me to be strong. So when I see that, I don't take it. I like to get to know the person in their heart. And if you feel passionate about something, of course, right, you would have some emotion.
Yeah, brother.
With it. And like I said, State your claim. Show me your numbers. Just tell everybody what your disposition was, and then we'll just kind of go back and forth from there. Fair?
Yes, sir, brother.
Okay.
I mean, again, peace. I don't know if Brother Ben X is on here. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Ben X.
Oh no, he's not. He's on vacation. He ain't at the studio today.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. Again, where do I begin? Okay, so basically, I kind of want to just kind of go back and give a background or a backdrop to why I'm so passionate by what I'm saying. So let's say today is March 9th.
First, Brother Jermaine, let everybody know. Let everybody know what you do, and what your profession is, so that if anybody on here sees your point of view, maybe you'll get some clients from there. Okay.
Oh yeah, and the thing being is, brother, I'm not doing this just to get clients, nothing like that, brother. I mean that I understand that because we might be somewhat in the same line of work. There might be some conflict of interest and stuff like that. So it wasn't, and I wasn't coming from a perspective of hating what you brothers do or anything like that. Again, I listen to your podcast and I will introduce myself, right, and tell you what I do. But just got to give it a backdrop. I was listening to you brothers and just listening to what you brothers were talking about, right? Can we offer about what entities we represent? Because I had asked you online, brother, you said Dave Ramsey was wrong about life insurance, and I just want to understand, but you do sell life insurance, right, brother?
Oh yes, I do.
Okay, and I had asked you,
and I've sold every type. Not to cut you off, I sold every type, and I actually started with Primerica, buy term, invest the difference.
Okay, so you're familiar with the entity that I'm representing.
Are you with Primerica?
Or at least the perspective, yes, sir.
Okay, yes. Yeah, so I started with Primerica. Offline, I can tell you who my RVP was, but I started with Primerica. I still keep up with them till today.
It's okay, no, that's fine.
And so I started with that. A.L. Williams, Rodale and Reed. Buy term, invest the difference, and that was until I was shown with numbers, not emotions, how it makes sense. And so I'm actually excited to hear this engagement of this conversation and see where it goes.
Exactly. See, right. And see, and that was the thing, brother, because a lot of times, I'm glad you understand kind of where my perspective, where I'm coming from, because, a lot of times we're taught, as we're doing business, not necessarily to indulge our entities that we might be associated with, for whatever reason, right?
For protection of the brand or whatever they say, right? Correct.
All that kind of stuff, brother. If you look on my page and look at what I represent, that probably, I'm surprised I haven't got a call by home office yet, but it's okay. It's either here or there. I'm not, I am a black man first, and what I do to make money legally is what I do. So, I don't have a problem indulging, tax returns or anything else like that. But, I'm kind of digressing. But my point I'm saying is that, we're in America. So that, but I'm glad you understand my perspective. And that I kind of want to shoot back to, so should that not answer the question to Ben X when he said that I wasn't qualified?
Well, I don't think that we knew who you were, and again, we didn't go to your page, right? So we just saw the comment.
Yeah, I don't really have a lot of this.
Okay.
I don't really have a lot of Primerica.
Yeah,
and
so correct, and so one of the things that comes with qualified, we do know licenses can deem somebody eligible to be considered a financial advisor, but you and I both know the difference between sales peddlers, people who peddle products, and people who are specialists. You and I, you being an entity that you're in, you know the difference from people who actually practice what they're teaching and the ones that's just trying to make money and promote. And and I think that's the difference of being qualified. It has nothing to do with licenses, because you and I both know it takes a weekend and a couple of weeks of studying for both tests. And
right, and I kind of go ahead, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I kind of figured you did come from Primerica, because most people, that end up leaving Primerica and go to maybe like your entity or WFG or something like that come from us. Even WFG is basically us in.
Yeah, through Hubert Humphrey. Yep, through Hubert Humphrey. WMA.
We call them the dark side. You know, we don't even really mention their names, but it's whatever. You know what I mean? We got respect for them, and you know, or whatever kind of respect we can have for them, right? But at the end of the day, we're trying. At the end of the day, we're trying to help people. And my, I really want to say it like this, but you know, we're talking about Black people. We're talking about, you know,
correct,
helping Black people in the situation of not understanding, because Black people are the ones who a lot of times don't have this financial literacy.
Correct.
That we tend to throw that word around.
Correct.
And again, brother, I kind of, you know, I listened to you guys' last podcast, and I was just like, okay, that's, you know, you did the Jim Crow insurance, you know, and I was like, okay, I really like what the perspective that you're coming from. And I was saying, damn, how come this brother's not with Primerica? And I kind of figured you probably came from us, but it's all good. It's whatever. But my whole thing real quick then, so we can kind of cut through the chase then, like why do you feel, well, two things. Why do you feel Dave Ramsey is wrong, which means that Susie Orman is wrong, which means Dr. Boyce Watkins is wrong about life insurance? And two, brother, does your company or ABS, do you guys end up getting any of your series you know, licenses to actually, you know, become a financial advisor? You know what I mean, brother? I mean,
good question. These are good qualifying questions. ABS is actually my company. We're not connected to any MLM insurance companies. We're independent brokers. And
we're not MLM though, but I'll get you though.
Okay, that's relative. I mean, yeah, that's relative. That's fair. That's relative. That's relative. I'm not against MLM, but you know, just call a spade a spade. But
that's
when
low blow, but I got you.
I had to get you back, right? Because you was woo. I had to get you back. I got one more low blow, but it ain't gonna hurt that bad. It's just gonna pop. It's gonna pop. That's okay. I got one more low blow. But and I respect the you know the respect that we have toward each other, toward, you know, whatever. So to answer the question directly, we do not have investment license.
Okay.
Yeah,
so why do you feel that? Why do you feel that Dave Ramsey is wrong, though, brother?
Well, we were talking about in terms of life insurance. So he said whole life products are wrong, and just like every Primerican says, because the first 3 years is zeros, which is incorrect, and you can only access the money if you borrow against it. That's incorrect. He's comparing. Well, he really doesn't break down the cost of policies, you know, the breakdown of the policy. He doesn't go into that. But anyway, I believe that term is for certain types of people, depending on where they are. I do believe in that. I mean, I have term just as much I have of dividend paying whole life insurance policy. And I
not to interrupt you, brother.
Mm-hmm.
But you said that term is good for people where they're at. Like, what would be an example of that? Of like a person that
don't have a lot of money, got kids, but they want to lock in legacy for $40-$50 a month. I mean, for a 25 to 35-year-old, you can get a term insurance for, you know, like $40-$50. For $1 million policy, right. A 30-year-old can get with Primerica's $125 a month, and with one of the companies we use is $102 for a 30-year-old policy. And so, you know, it's dependent upon where they are, the stage that they are in life. And a lot of people come to me with concepts, and I don't have any emotions to it. I just follow the breadcrumbs, and I know, and I'm looking at the breadcrumbs. I'm seeing the breadcrumbs, and so that's where we're going. And so that's why I say when it comes to life insurance, as it pertains to whole life. Now we do know that there are some companies that have agents who write terrible products. Oh, then there's a misnomer that says that agents only sell whole life because they make more policies. Actually, a properly structured whole life policy will technically only really pay you. It'll pay you like a term, in all honesty, if you structure it with the client in mind, just as because you only get paid on the insurance. You don't get paid on what goes into the cash. But that's another conversation for another day. So that's why I said it.
No, let's have that conversation too, brother. Okay, so brother, real quick, why do you focus on $1 million policy? I know that sounds good. I know Nipsey made it popular with the $1 million policies and stuff like that, but a $500,000 policy, and you know a lot of times that when you get the higher the policy, so say if you get it over 150,000 maybe, we start getting into 200 and 300,000. Now you might have to do a doctor's visit or a nurse's visit, right?
That's incorrect. That's incorrect. With us, it's the max cap for Primerica is 300,000. But one of the carriers that we use, you get up to $2 million without having to get a paramed, as long as your MIB report is clear, and you don't have any records of your medical history being a person of risk. So that's what you're talking about in retrospect to Primerica alone. By the way, Primerica doesn't even have the most competitive term product. You guys only have a term with what they call it, a term with a terminal illness rider that doesn't even have the other riders that come with the plan, critical and chronic, which were being offered. And as I showed in the Jim Crow insurance rates, that slave owners were getting paid for the damage to slaves as well as the death. So in order for somebody to get paid from the damage to, that means that they were getting paid from some type of living benefit. Go ahead.
Is that the low blow? Is that the low blow you was keeping in the neck? Right,
yeah, that was it. That's all I got. I'm actually a really nice guy. That's all I got.
So I got you, brother. Actually, hey, brother, look, I can answer that real easily. Like, as far as competitive, I think my AIG might have term insurance lower than us, right? Who was bailed out by the government, by the way.
Yeah, we never sell AIG.
US said, other people that are competitive, right? Yeah. And the reason why our prices are the way they are is because we end up becoming independent business owners after a while. You know that, right? RVP status and beyond, right? So the compensation that has nothing to do with
that has nothing to do with the benefit to the client. See, that you're talking about a stock held company. Primerica is a stock company. The companies I'm talking about are mutual held companies that are in the best benefit for the policyholders. I don't sell products that are from stock held companies primarily because the number one objective of a company that has stock is to look out into the best benefit of the shareholders, correct? That's their number one objective. The number one objective of a publicly held company is to their number one priority is to make sure that they're equitable and being financially stable for the shareholders, the owners of the company, and everybody that goes RVP gets $10,000 of free stock, and then they get to earn it for every RVP that they promote, which means that they're now shareholders. Is that I could be incorrect on that? I thought last I heard it was 10.
I mean, you're starting to do the falsehood with the truth with falsehood a little bit thing there a little bit, but that's well, okay. Fine,
so let me retract. I'll retract on the 10,000. But if you look up any responsibility, I retracted on that because that was not completely accurate till today. But what I will say is that any publicly held company, this is a fact. Their primary responsibility is not to look after the client. It's to look after the profits of the shareholders. So with Primerica being a publicly traded company, secondary now, but publicly traded company, they have to look after, first rule is the shareholders, not the policyholders, this is why you was about to come with the defense that all the commissions and all of that has nothing to do with creating a best product that's fit for the client. Which is why we use mutually owned companies who are owned by the policyholders, which build and benefit to the policyholders, much like a credit union. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I mean that was nice try, but the thing being is that you actually working with the whole life insurance companies that tried to prevent Primerica from coming into existence in 1977, which was probably before Ben X was before, and I don't know how old you are, brother. And you know the story of A.L. Williams, brother.
I know the whole story. His daddy died, and he got mad, and he ran into his uncle or cousin.
That's like,
and all that.
now you acting like people who watch the Who Killed Malcolm story now. You know, oh Malcolm, oh yeah, he just our Martin Luther King, brother. That's not really the kind of way that you should kind of prevent or tell the story, brother. And that's my thing with that was my problem with you. Kind of recruiting a a person like a Ben X, because
actually I didn't recruit. I never recruited Ben X. That's falsehood. I never recruited Ben X. Ben X actually became my client. And through becoming my client, it was actually his decision that he wanted to take the principles that I was teaching and he wanted to make it public. Actually, so I didn't recruit him. But let's get to the facts. You said that we were fraud. You said I was fraud.
Most people in PRIMERICA, hold on, brother, hold on. You know that most people in PRIMERICA were actually either clients before they became actual agents, brother. So the thing being is, all you're saying is that Ben X that you. I'm gonna do a low bug at you. You tricked Ben X into becoming a client, and then after you tricked him to become a client, now he needed a way to pay that policy. So now, let me bring him on this.
That's what I did. That's falsehood. That's incorrect. You tried to reach out to him, right? You tried to reach out to him. He denied you.
Try to reach out. Yes, sir.
And then that's where the real plight is. That's where the real plight. You reached out to him.
It's not the plight, brother.
You said so. Let's get to the point. You said that I was fraud. So now let's just skip the candor. And let's. Why am I fraud? Not emotions. Hold on, brother. Not emotions. Facts. Why am I fraud?
No. But see, hold on. With the thing being, brother, is that that's why I wanted to get the backdrop to my whole conversation and passion behind this, because inference is always anybody can infer their perspective about something can always be jaded or even constructed or whatever the case kind of word you want to use to attach what people might think my true intentions are in reaching out to you and brother Ben. My whole thing is this, brother. When the brother rejected me back when he had 300 followers or so, and I was just coming with him with a business plan, like, hey, brother, you're a very bright brother. If you had this in your arsenal, sky's the limit. Now, the thing being is, I didn't press the brother no more about coming onto PRIMERICA. But fast forward now, the brother has millions of followers, and here you and the brother sit. And the thing being is just that now I have to look at it like, wait a minute, because you came from what I'm representing right now,
and I left.
And yeah, but the thing being is that's almost like leaving a church.
That was my introduction to the insurance industry, and because my grandfather had a whole life product that took care of my grandmother until she died last September for 20-something plus years. The notion that term is the only way that term. She lived a really good life. She was a good woman of God. So she's in heaven partying with my papa.
I know she is, brother. And the thing being, brother, like, see, you said we wasn't gonna do emotion, but that was very emotional, brother. You brought your grandmother into it. Now,
I was just proving a point. They say that whole life is stupid.
No, I could prove a point though too, brother, because today is the day that my father passed away. So I mean, we could go tit for tat on tragedies.
I was just proving that whole life pays out the same. Matter of fact, only 1% of term policies pay out. So let's get to the point. How am I a fraud? Everybody got the backstory. Everybody know your passion. Now why is Jake Taylor Jacobs a fraud? Go, please.
Well, brother, this is the thing. My whole thing is that you're saying that Dave Ramsey, Susie Orman, and basically Dr. Boyce Watkins is wrong about life insurance. Now,
correct.
I understand you're building your brand. I understand that you're building your business, brother, and I'm not trying to take food out your pocket or money out your pocket or food off your table, brother. But my whole thing is that when Brother Ben X, who represents the Nation of Islam and Minister Farrakhan, comes on podcasts with you, brother, and you guys start talking about mixing 401ks with Roth IRAs and a lot of other stuff that
I
was
never
incorrect
said
in
to
your
mix
podcast.
401ks with Roth IRAs. I don't even believe in government qualified plans. Let's just go there. The government
brother,
qualified
now,
plans, government qualified plans, government
you responded with emotion, brother.
because that's a lie. You just said I said to mix.
Brother,
You just said
I posted your podcast.
you said I said to mix
posted your
Roth
podcast,
IRAs
brother.
with 401ks. I've
No,
never said that. You
I
just said that.
No, I said that. No, you said that in your conversation, brother. You were mixing 401ks with Roth IRAs, brother. It was in your podcast, brother. I'm telling you, brother.
I did not mix. A 401k is deferred taxes, which means that the money gets taken out pre-tax, which means it grows tax deferred. When they withdraw the money at 50 freaking years later, they get taxed at whatever the interest rate or tax rate is at the time. I am not confused on any of the products. And that's correct.
No,
and the reason why it's tax deferred is because you're not using it as income tax. That's not a plug. The government created a high inflation world and then created the product for the problem that they created. But how am I fraud? Please explain.
I get your hyperbole behind what you're saying, brother. I'm just saying if we go to your last podcast, brother, with Brother Ben X, and we take everything that you're saying item by item, brother, there was just some misinformation in that, brother.
So bring it to the people. We got 30 people live. This live is going to reach maybe 2,000 or 3,000 people. So bring it to the people. What? Let's pick it apart. Let's pick it apart.
Well, brother, brother, I don't have your podcast in front of me to be able to do that right now. I'm simply saying, brother, that there were some things in your podcast that weren't correct, brother. Now, the thing being is, if you think you're right all the time, because I don't.
Oh, absolutely. Right no, absolutely not. Which is why I'm bringing you on live, so that you can explain what I said that was fraud, and if it is incorrect, I am humble enough to come to the public and switch my disposition if proven incorrect.
Well, again, brother, I'm going to use your own words, brother, because you're saying that Dave Ramsey, which therefore Susan Orman and therefore Boyce Watkins are wrong about life insurance.
Yes, but I did say that. Right I did say that they're wrong about life insurance.
So how are they wrong, brother?
Dude, you're supposed to be proving me wrong. I could care less about Dave Ramsey, Susie Orman. I think Dave actually does a phenomenal job for people, by the way. Dave Ramsey, Susie Orman, don't forget Boyce Watkins, and Boyce Watkins. I don't know Boyce Watkins like that, my brother. I don't study his stuff. Never read it. Never listened to a video. I ain't done none of that, so I can't talk on a man I don't know. Nor have I studied his stuff. So again, I'm not going to mention him because I don't know him. So you brought up Dave Ramsey. You keep talking about. So you're saying Dave Ramsey wrong. Say it publicly. I said it. The man is wrong. You say Susie Orman. I'm saying it. She's wrong. But you have yet to prove to me, since you're qualified and you're licensed, how me telling people to store cash reserves into dividend-paying whole life policies is wrong. There goes the platform. How am I wrong with that?
I mean, first of all, you said that in your podcast that Jim Crow Insurance, right, which was whole life insurance that was being sold prior to 1977, had all this involvement with the slave trade and slavery and Jim Crow. Then you go back and you work right with the same companies that did this. So
that's a lie. I do not sell any products coming with those companies. Everybody, please go back and look at the podcast. I said Prudential, MetLife, and John Hancock, known as the Big Three. Bro, those are three companies. We're talking about companies, dude. We're talking about companies. I do not sell those companies. So please come and tell me why, tell publicly how me telling people to store cash reserves inside of insurance policies is incorrect. How is that fraud?
Okay. So now you talk about it's in the index. So you talk about S&P 500 that's crashing right now, right?
I've never mentioned that, bro. I said
No.
Why?
A whole life insurance policy. See, brother, you playing dumb, brother. You playing dumb, and that's the thing. You can't talk to me like I'm stupid, brother, because I know the game. I'm saying that you know that a whole life policy has an index to it that is attached to the S&P 500.
That is a lie.
And
That's a universal life product. That is not a dividend paying whole life product. Please come again. How is me telling people for a dividend whole life for a dividend?
Brother, you use the schematics.
Okay, let me bring down my tone. A dividend paying whole life, a dividend. Well, listen, first let me do this. Let me do this. Let me apologize to you. I apologize publicly for raising my voice with you, because that is not called for, because you are being respectful and mannerable. So I do apologize to you. But I'm just as passionate as you are. But
and I don't mean to ruffle your feathers like this, brother.
Oh no, brother. It's just misinformed people. That's it. It ain't got nothing to do with you. Just misinformed. I'm just emotional. In all of my videos,
this is your bread and butter.
In all of my videos, I am emotional. That's okay. You study all of my videos, I'm the same guy, whether I'm talking about something fun or not. Anyway, you said that a dividend whole life paying policy is the same thing as an index universal life policy. That is not the same. They don't do the same thing. Those are two different products that do two different things. And I tell people to put their money in a cash reserve and a dividend paying whole life product.
But why, though, brother? Why?
Because in the dividend paying, great question.
Because,
I will answer it if you let me.
Because right. But I'm just going to say, go ahead, answer it. That's right. Why?
Thank you. You can put your money inside of the cash reserve, inside of a dividend paying a whole life policy, because when you put your money in a cash reserve, you get a guaranteed 4% on your money. You have access to your cash reserve within 31 days of creation of your policy. You can withdraw the money tax-free up to the amount of money that you put into the plan, or you can borrow against it and use the insurance company's money while still getting the guaranteed 4%, plus the 2 to 4% dividends getting paid from the mutually owned company. Over time, as I was showing them before you got on the show, you will see that you have a guaranteed a cash reserve that will outgrow what you put in for the entire plan. That's why I say to store your cash. Walt Disney built Disneyland from borrowing from his policy. Doris Christopher sold her company to Warren Buffett for $900 million. Where did she get the money from? Her insurance policy. Ray Kroc, it is publicly known that he funded starting a franchising with the McDonald's franchise using his insurance policy. John McCain used his insurance policy to as initial funding for his presidential campaign. If you go look up what BOLI is, what is bank-owned life insurance? Banks store we use Wells Fargo today. Wells Fargo puts $18 billion in cash reserves of insurance companies, the general account and the separate account, inside of insurance policies to be able to participate in the tax-free protection as well as the tax-free access that they have to pay for their employee benefits using insurance as that. University of Michigan pays out a bonus in cash to Jim Harbaugh, the head coach. The University of Michigan uses life insurance to make Jim Harbaugh the highest paying college coach in all of America, using insurance to fund it. Those are my examples, and that's why.
So brother, you actually brought up John McCain, brother, as an example for life insurance in this election.
Dude, out of
year,
everything,
brother,
on everything I said, you're picking off stuff that is irrelevant. It's irrelevant.
No, brother, you spent a lot of time on that, brother. You spent a lot of time on that. I was just giving you some wind, to. But anyway, brother, the thing I'm saying.
Yes,
is,
y'all.
Brother,
he's from PRIMERICAN.
Brother, the thing being is this: those. So you're saying those people use whole life insurance policy? The founder of McDonald's. And I'm trying to figure out what has McDonald's done for us. Anyway.
Bro, that has nothing to do. You called me a fraud. I just told you why I tell people.
How is it that, brother, see, you hogging the time now. The thing being is this, you spent all this time to so-called justify whole life insurance by using John McCain, founder of McDonald's. Thank you. And I'm saying that, brother, you're justifying whole life insurance policies and whole life insurance that has raped, pillaged, and robbed not only black people, but A.L. Williams, which is why he started Primerica in the first place. Now, I'm not saying that, God forbid, if you have a whole life insurance policy that you should cancel it or anything else like that without getting proper insurance in place of that. I'm just saying, brother, that how is it that you say that the whole life insurance policies participated in slavery and Jim Crow, and mind you, you can say it's New York Life and all that, and you know that a lot of these companies have sister companies. A lot of these companies are affiliated with each other in all kind of ways, brother. So to play dumb and act like, oh well, I'm not using those companies. I mean, that's kind of a cop out, brother. That's really a cop out. And I'm saying that that Primerica actually is the number one insurance company in America. And the thing I'm saying is that trust it. And I'm saying that where were these companies, since you want to bring up John McCain, where were these companies during the so-called 9/11 disaster? Where were these companies when the crash, the stock market crashed in 2006? Where were they at then? So the thing I'm saying is that it's kind of like that's the contradiction that I'm hearing in what you're saying, brother. It doesn't make sense, and that's why I wanted to kind of ring the alarm and say, hey, look, brother, like I got to step on your toes because you out here talking like there's nobody else on the playing field here, and I'm just like, brother, this is chess. This ain't checkers, brother. And I understand your strategy. I get what you're trying to say. I get the hyperbole of what you're talking about, brother. But the thing being is that it's not all the way. I mean, brother, you said that why something about $100,000. That how'd you put it, brother? You shouldn't invest $100,000 if you don't. I don't want to put words in your mouth. I'm trying to paraphrase what you said, brother, on your podcast. You said if you don't have $100,000 to invest, you shouldn't be investing, or something to that nature.
Yes, I did.
Okay, I mean that's fine, but where's somebody supposed to get $100,000 from?
You save it.
Save
The average American makes $1.5 million in their working career. The average American spends $1,082,577 towards debt and financing. So please don't tell me people don't have the money. So are you going to prove that what I'm telling people is fraud?
That goes. Whoa, brother, that was the thing I'm saying is I said that I'm trying to prevent Brother Ben X from becoming a fraud. So
okay, so you haven't proved that I'm a fraud. First of all, I appreciate you for coming on the Jake Taylor Jacobs show. And if you want to prove Brother Ben, if you want to help him out, please call him on his show because I'm done with that. Brother, I thank you. I appreciate you coming on to the show. But yet again, somebody called me a fraud. I gave him plenty of chance to prove it. And yet, I don't want to say I came out victorious because it's very disheartening for somebody to use the word fraud. My entire livelihood is built on this. 7 years in the industry, I don't have not one negative review from any of my clients or customers. Matter of fact, before anybody starts to put money in the banking system, we do more than our due diligence to ensure that they have all of the education that's required. If they feel uneasy, we put them through a 16-lesson masterclass to be able to get them to see or not to see if what we're teaching is for them or not. I don't give emotions. I don't give sales pitches. He's telling me 3 characters. I don't know these people from Adam, nor do I care. He's talking about the black agenda. He's bringing up Susie Orman and Dave Ramsey. Like, dude, get a grip. First of all, I just want to say, he had plenty of time to prove it. Sean said, Brother Ben, okay, this is easy. Please don't become a fraud. And yes, Adelaja, he has yet to prove that I was fraud because none of the information that I've publicly shown, has been disproved. There have been some information talking about the bank equity as far as the stock market on line 28 of the assets ledger that I was made to understand, which I don't have any evidence to prove either or, that's not stock that they actually invest into other companies, because banks don't invest into other companies, which I've determined. Mari says that is a lie, but this person said that they don't. So I'll leave it there until I can prove it. But you can't negate line 41. Then his brother said they don't invest into the market, but they give their money to insurance companies so that they can do right by the money and bring back interest. So this is really tiring. I think that the hardest thing that frustrates me is that people have these dispositions of opinions from characters that they follow, and they don't even know why. They don't even know why. It's much like people who, you know, it's much like people who follow the Bible, read the Bible, Christians or people that believe in the Bible, and you can't even defend your word. So anyway, so the point of the show today is to talk about the difference between ownership and godship, and having to understand. It's okay. I appreciate everyone defending me in the chat, and it's pretty much easy. I mean, anybody who watches this show today will be able to determine that I've yet to been proven that I was a fraud, because anybody that can go to the assets ledger of a bank and show you where they're publicly putting their money, you look up what is bank-owned life insurance, anyone can look it up. You can be able to see for yourself. What we teach people, it's not an apples to apples stock market versus putting your money in a cash reserve inside of an insurance policy. We're talking about bank savings account to bank savings account. We're talking about if I store money inside of a savings account with a bank, what do I get? I'm giving my money to the bank, the savings account, to get 0.01%. I got to ask to borrow money against that account, or ask to borrow money from my equity out of my home. And they literally make 6 to 28% on the money that I've given them over the years of my life. I'm just telling you, there's a different vehicle where you can put your money, you can get more bang for your buck, you can borrow against your amount without damaging the growth of your money. You get 4% guaranteed interest on that reserve, which the banks don't give you, plus 2 to 4%, sometimes even 8% of dividends that you get to participate with the insurance company when they're profitable. And mutual companies want to be profitable. So you pretty much know for a fact you're going to get some type of dividend payout yearly. So I don't know what type of reserve gives you a guaranteed 4% plus 2 to 4% dividends. That's 4 to 8% on your reserve inside the account, and they allow you to borrow against it, use their money without liquidating the money in your account. Tomorrow in the show, I'm just going to bring numbers to be able to show you with a board what that looks like. Andre said they stole the wealth from, I'll put it so everybody. Andre said they stole the wealth from minorities by stealing the companies and built the cities with minority slavery for control. Do you think that they're going to buy it back with the new creations? I mean, I really don't know on that. I'm unsure about that, Andre. Any fields that I feel like unsure, you won't hear me speak on, because I like to speak from facts, research, and logic. So you guys will never hear me talk about anything that I haven't done my due diligence on. I just don't speak about stuff I'm unfamiliar with. And Brother Andre, I am unfamiliar with that, cousin, with that topic. But what I do know is that the freedman bank stole money from slaves. I do know that a slave's money disappeared from the freeman's bank, that the government funded, that the government created, which is why we're going to talk about it on another show about qualified plans and how the government literally created the problem and then gave you a solution to the problem. That sounds exactly what Pharaoh did to the Egyptians. That's not my opinions. If you study history, you'll know the future. And so the point that I was making was, you want a better place to house your money to get more bang for your buck. You want a better place to house your money to get more bang for your buck. And you're talking to somebody who does exactly what I'm teaching people to do. I don't borrow money from the bank. I don't keep more than $3,000, $5,000 in a bank. Other than that, the rest of my money goes into a cash reserve inside of an insurance policy, because that money is not predicated on the market. That money's not predicated on the market. And by law, whatever numbers that are being showed, it's not projected. The insurance company has to guarantee the protection of the dollar. And so I want to figure out a way. What you want to do, you want to figure out a way to turn your money that's a debt fiat into capital. And capital is an asset that can be leveraged against or that is anticipating on turning a profit. That's what capital is. So I use capital to buy goods to make money. I use capital to buy businesses to make money. So your money only turns into capital when it's in an asset that's going to be used to leverage to grow cash. Don't forget to get some gold. Oh yeah, for sure, Dante. I think gold is something to get, but the problem with gold that I have is that it's hard to liquidate. Gold is hard to liquidate. And so you want to have a balance of things that protect. Gold is something that you want to keep. It's a lot harder to liquidate. I like to compare liquidation to gold, almost not comparison side by side, but just as hard as it is to liquidate money out. It's easier to liquidate money out of gold than out of a property. Because in order to liquidate money out of property, you got to sell the property. The market has to be ready to sell the property. They got to want to purchase it for what you're selling it for. Or you got to go and borrow against and collateralize your property, give the deed back to the bank where the bank now owns your property. And then you got to go in debt with the bank again. They collateralize the only home that you own. And then you have to have good credit, good history of payments, and all that other stuff in order for them to give you money as access. And so I think it's more important. But what we're talking about, and he mentioned something before I got him off the show. He said that I said that I don't believe that somebody should be investing money into the market unless they have $100,000 saved. I'm going with that 100%. Here's why. Because somebody that knows how to save $100,000 or a substantial amount is hard to convince them to do gullible stuff. Somebody that can save $25,000, $50,000, $100,000, it's hard for them to do gullible stuff. And it's funny because everybody, especially PRIMERICANs, oh my gosh, it's crazy. They allude to talking about Warren Buffett. Well, Warren Buffett invests in stocks. No, Warren Buffett does not invest in stocks. Well, Warren Buffett does. He's a publicly traded company who buys publicly traded companies, which means what? That in order to buy a publicly traded company, it cannot be done in private. You have to buy through the public, which is what? Through its shares. So Warren Buffett does not buy and flip stock like traders do. He does not sell mutual funds like that product pusher was talking about. He buys companies through stock, builds companies up, fixes the management systems. Number one, he says, don't lose your money. Rule number two, don't forget rule number one, not to lose your money. He buys companies. He's fixed infrastructure. He set up systems. He create higher margins. He becomes profitable. He stays. If it's a cash cow, he stays. If it is not, he sells it. Matter of fact, one of the best investments you can hear Warren Buffett say, which is a huge tribute as to how he became a billionaire, is him buying an insurance company that has float money through his cash reserves that he could use to buy bonds and treasures and stuff like that and be more sustainable with his income. So yes, I'm a firm believer. Nobody should be investing in no stocks if you don't know. That's right. EVA analyst. That's right, Sean. You got me, Sean. You need to come on the show one day. You know what you're talking about. And I like to talk to people who know what they're talking about. And so I'm a firm believer. You shouldn't be investing in stock if you don't know what's going on. You should not be investing in mutual funds if you don't know who the fund manager is, if you don't know the history of the company. And everybody talks about S&P 500 and how long the S&P 500 has had this consistent current interest rate. And they don't know that the average S&P 500 company is only in the S&P 500 for 20 years. They fall out, and they replace the company with the new thriving S&P 500 company, and they don't calculate the fall of the original S&P 500 member. They only calculate the growth of the new S&P 500 member. So it's easy to manipulate. Also, if you think about the stock market, the reason why I tell people do your research, because there is a such thing as called pumping and dumping. If I'm a publicly traded company, I can go and borrow money from the bank. I can dump money into my stocks to raise the value of the stock to make it look like a bunch of it's profitable. The company is equitable. I can use the loan money from the bank, pay out dividends to make it look as if we are positive in cash flow. and my company can be sinking. I can give the people who invested the most money time to get out. They dump all their policies, all their shares, and then the person who takes the worst end of the stick is the common shareholder. So I don't believe that you can do a bunch of damage. I think that more people should be taking their time to analyze the market. You should analyze mutual companies, and you should analyze the companies that these companies are peddling, and understand that people like PRIMERICANs, they put you in mutual funds that pay higher 12B1 fees. It's a fact. This is a fact. These are not whatever. And so the point that I'm making to my people, my black people, the best education that you can have is to, for one, turn your money, which is a dying liability because of inflation. Your money does not grow in value. It is a liability. You turn your money into a capital. How do you turn your money into capital? You're turning your money into something that can produce money or into an asset. So the reason why I'm saying dump your money in cash reserves is because your money in a savings account is not an asset, because it's not creating capital. It's not generating any capital. It's not generating any profits. You put your money in a cash reserve. It is now what? It is now considered an asset that you can use to borrow against. Even if you went to the bank, they ask you, how much do you have in your cash reserve? Why? Because the money in your cash reserve is considered an asset. It's considered a financial instrument that is capital. That money inside that instrument gives a guaranteed 4% plus 2 to 4% typically of dividends that these mutual companies give you. If your policy is structured correctly, you can have access to this cash reserve within 31 days of you creating the insurance policy. I'm not saying to borrow against it, but if somebody who is an entrepreneur, the best place to put your money is into something that can grow your money. Well, Jake, how come the insurance company can grow money like that? Because 70% of an insurance company's portfolio are bonds. The rest of their money are joint ventures, some options. 2% of their portfolio is options. Typically, and the rest of their money goes to lending money to financial lenders that lend money, like mortgage companies that primarily specialize in lending money, or financing companies that primarily specialize in lending money for cars. So insurance companies are the primary funders of those lenders. Okay, so somebody asked, give us a good example. Custom Aquatic said, give us a good example of a cash reserve. Okay, I'll give you an example. Okay? I'll give you an example. This is an example of a 25-year-old kid that I'm about to show you, a 25-year-old kid who is saving money inside of their reserve. One thing that we do know when it comes to savings accounts is that all you have is all you have. All you have is all you have. What you put in is what you get. That's all it is. If you die, you put $10,000 in, that's all you getting. If you die, you put $10,000 in, that's all you getting. Brother Jermaine. I appreciate your resilience. Don't ever give up. Giving up, it's not what we do. Let me know if you guys can see my screen. So let's talk about a 25-year-old kid, because PRIMERICAN say that when you put your money in a policy, you don't get access to it within 3 years. I'm going to prove them wrong right here. And then this is a dividend-paying whole life product. I'm not going to move up because I don't want you guys to see this kid's name. Can you guys see my screen? Can you guys see my screen? Can you guys see my screen? I just want to make sure y'all can see my screen. Dante, I'm always open to people who are knowledgeable. DM me your number, Dante. I'll give you a call. We'll chop it up to see if what you say is not just concept, but you can provide facts and research. And with that, I would love to have dialogue with you. Absolutely, my brother. Okay, so let's look here. So if you were to put $10,000 inside of a bank account, we're talking about bank to bank. If you were to put $10,000 into a traditional savings bank account, you would have only $10,000. You put $10,000 a year into that, you save your money, $10,000 a year into a cash reserve, you immediately get access to 64%. In this example, this kid got immediate access to 64% of his capital. And he has a death benefit of $457,000. So typically, if you were to die in a traditional bank account and you put $10,000 in there, your family only gets $10,000. We're talking about building wealth through life insurance and finding a better place to put your money. So that tells you only about 64% of your money, 64 goes into your cash reserve. 40, in his case, 36% goes toward his insurance. Why do we use insurance? Because under insurance, we have the protection of tax-free access to our money. The money grows tax-free, and you can access it tax-free if you borrow against your collateral. So year one, he puts $10,000 in. He got access to $6,400. He immediately has a death benefit of $457. Let's go apples to apples. You put your money in a bank account. You put $10,000 in. You die. Your family gets $10,000. You put your money in this account. You die. Your family gets $457. I think I like that deal. You go 10 years down the line. This person put $100. Notice this side is the guaranteed side. It says guaranteed, which means you're guaranteed to get it. This side, you put $100,000 total into your plan. Your money's on this account is only using 65% of the $10,000 that goes into the cash reserve. So with only 65% of your money going in the cash reserve, it's already almost caught up into the 100% that you put into the total plan. So in total, 10 years, this person put in $100,000 into their plan. They got access to $95,000 with an $810,000 death benefit. You don't have to guess legacy. Legacy is already there. If you were to put $100,000 into a bank or $100,000 into a investment account, most cases over 10 years, you would not have $800,000, and you will only get access to what you put in plus the interest. So not only does he get to have access to this money while he's living, his family's pretty much guaranteed the legacy. Let me show you how it gets greater. On this side is the dividend side. He got $1,500 in the first 10 years in dividends. Dividends is profit shared with the company. So he got $97,000 that he has access to with $816,000 of death benefit. Now notice, that was him saving $10,000 a year for 10 years. After that, he's only going to save $3,000 a year after that. So over 20 years of him putting money into his reserve, he put a total of $133,000 into the policy. He will be guaranteed in his cash reserve to have $159,000. Only using 65% of the full amount that he put into the plan, he would have $26,000 more money than he put in. What bank savings account does that? Plus, his family is guaranteed to get $810,000 when he dies. What savings account gives you both and? Death, you get 8 times more money and you get access to more capital. It gets better later. Now, that's not including the dividends. On this side, you got to add the $33,000 of dividend over this 10-year period. This person put $133,000 into the plan. They have, plus the dividends, $198,000 of capital that they have access to. When he dies, his family gets $941,000. Again, please explain to me, where can you put $133,000 in and your family gets guaranteed $941,000 tax-free, plus you get access to $198,000? I'll wait. We're going to go all the way to what they say retirement. Notice he's only putting $3,000 a year into this plan. He's actually, the money's growing tax-free, and he has access to the money tax-free if he uses it correctly. At the age of 65, I changed the name and I put test client because I don't need to go to jail and I ain't trying to use my license. So at the age of 65, when people say to retire, this brother would have put in $199,000 into the total plan. His family, he would have a guaranteed $367,000 plus a death benefit of $810,000. Again, what bank savings account or investment account gives you that? We go over here. He gets $148,000 of dividend. He put $199,000 into the plan. He has $592,000 that he has access to tax-free if he accesses it correctly, like we teach, plus a $1.2 million death benefit that he can pass to his kids, and it gets greater later. 50 years later, only putting $3,300 into the plan. He put $233,000 into this plan. He has access to $502,000 guaranteed, double the money, plus $810,000 when he dies. He can use all of this money while he's living, and his family literally will get whatever's left of $810 and $502. Over here, plus the $247,000 of dividend he got in this 10-year period, he would have his $233,000 would turn into a $970,000 cash reserve, plus his family would get $1.4 million when he dies. So again, let me say that the very best place to put your money, the very best place to put your money is cash reserve and insurance until you can find better places to invest your money. I'm not saying not get in real estate. I'm not saying not to get in stocks. I'm saying take time to research the markets, but why not get guaranteed legacy, guaranteed cash reserve, guaranteed 4% plus dividends? Why not get the for sure until you know for sure? Why gamble all of your assets? Why gamble it all away? Absolutely, Brian. Any asset protection with this strategy, you're absolutely, Brian, it's guaranteed. Your money is not going, it's not in the stock. So your guarantees are your asset protection. The capital is the asset. It's being protected. You literally turned your dead money, which is a debt. Fiat money is a debt. It's an IOU. You're turning your fiat money into capital that can be capitalized and used for other investments or can be borrowed against to be able to do what you want. Absolutely. I just taught you, just using life insurance, how to guarantee a legacy and live vicariously, live free. Live free. Live vicariously through your ancestors. Like literally have the best life and have the best of both worlds. And we teach this in our class, I Am the Lender, showing you how to use this strategy to become your own banking system. I showed y'all how to do it. $3,300 a year is literally $275 a month. First 10 years, he busts his butt, capitalized his plan. Then he saved $275 a month for the rest of his life, and he oh my gosh. I'm done. Absolutely, Brian. There's asset protection. Dante said, yes, Brother Jake, it would be an honor. We as a people we're taught what you are teaching now, brother. I believe that us as a community, I believe in working together. If you guys want to know more about it, I want you to go to a KB Appointments. KBappointments.com. I put it in the chat. www.kbappointments. Set an appointment. It's a free appointment. You would have a real person, not Jake, a real broker answer the phone. You would have a real broker answer the phone and set you up an appointment to see if this fits what you want to do. We don't just look at the money you have. We look at what exactly are you trying to accomplish, and we tailor the plan to you. You can't just go to anybody that does insurance because, as you can see, there are people who have no idea what they're talking about. Andre, you're absolutely right. We need to own our own. But just like God said to Moses when he was getting his people free, he said, when you leave Egypt, get all of the resources from all of the women in the houses, get all of the money from your neighbors in Egypt, collect everything, give it to your sons, and leave. Meaning you utilize what you can while you can, because it takes more than you realize to start insurance companies and keep them credible and keep them going. Sean, you said you never got the second phone call? Oh, let me call somebody real quick. Hey, one of y'all come here. We got a live person on here who is saying that they did not get a second phone call. Now, y'all know. Hey, who was supposed to call Sean Safford? Yeah, call out right now. We don't play that. We don't pay that. We don't play that here at ABS. We don't play that. Sean Safford, for us not giving you that second call, I'm going to send you a book on the house. And I'm going to send you $20 in the book for staying patient. Okay? So make sure on the second call, I want you to DM me. Who was supposed to call us? Oh, he said the person that he called that didn't answer the phone. Now, Sean, now I'm getting on their butt. And you didn't answer the phone. Call him right now. He's about to call you right now. Answer the phone. It's from a Dallas number, son. I'm still going to send you the book, but you lost the $20. Let me tell y'all something. We run a clean ship. We run it right. We run with integrity. And the people that are not ready for this system that we teach, we put you in class first. Maxine said, I know it wasn't Amir because he called and texted and followed up. Hey, Amir, you got people having your back. Listen, let me tell y'all something. I'm excited that you guys came onto the show. If you got value from the show, I want you to like and share and comment. Like, share, comment. Like, share, comment. And Dante, don't forget to message me. For those of you guys that are interested, go to kbappointments.com. Maxine, you should have called sooner. The $20 is going back in the pocket. We believe in customer service, that's for sure. kbappointments.com is in the chat, kbappointments.com. And we will have somebody reach out to you. If you do it today, they'll reach out to you immediately, and they'll tell you what you need to do next. They probably will tell you to go watch our masterclass or come watch our live masterclass tomorrow. And I want you to go to kbappointments.com first, and then they're going to ask you, have you watched the masterclass? Then they're going to tell you what to do to register for our free masterclass so that we can properly teach you and educate you so that you are an educated person. Because we believe that the truth is good enough, and an educated person makes educated decisions 100% of the time. Guys, this is Jake Taylor Jacobs with the Jake Taylor Jacobs Show. Let me tell you something. I love you. There's absolutely nothing you can do about it.